been filming a cat doing silly things, or thought I was filming it, and I wasn't. She was having a mad few moments over there by the wood pile whilst Mark was fetching in, sorting out wood. Look at the weight on that poor trolley. Well, we were forecast some rain today. Don't really see any sign of it. So it's a bit chilly out here. Well, it isn't. Well, it is. A bit of a breeze. So I spent at least 10 hours listening to and watching. I mean, I was playing my game for some of the time and I had it on underneath. I could hear it. The Cory Booker Filibuster, which was absolutely incredible. I just couldn't get over his energy and how engaging he was and how passionate he was, and at times somewhat evangelical. And I just was what's the word? I can't think of the word, but I just couldn't move away from it. I was mesmerised, and I'm not American, but it was just so good, and so it was like, it's about time. I think it was so uplifting to see somebody pushing back and really pushing back, but the energy and the passion was just incredible. And he beat the record. It was Strom Thurman. I might have the name wrong because I didn't really take it in. So he beat the record by just under an hour against a filibuster that had been against I can't remember, civil rights, the rights, something about, he was a black man beating the record of a white suprematist, is what I picked up. Remember, I'm not American. So it was just fascinating. I was really pissed off with Chuck Schumer. He posted on Blue Sky at some point, I've just stood on the floor and supported Cory Booker, and it was so smug. And I responded very quickly with, I'm sure I won't be alone with too little too late. And lots of people like that. And then he came on towards the end, he wanted to have a question, but he was wanting to draw, it was an ego thing, he was wanting to draw attention to himself. For me it was obvious, and actually I was only listening to that bit. I'd got something else on my screen, but it was like there was a look at me, look what I'm doing, and just attempting to ride on the coattails of Cory Booker. So I don't think he did himself any favours last night. A lot of people unhappy with him. Well, there have been a lot of people unhappy with him anyway, telling him to step down and move aside and resign or whatever you have to do. So for me it was incredible to witness history. Now, we went to bed and both of us yet again could not get to sleep, and got up. So I was able to watch the last hour and see him end his amazing filibuster. And it was very emotional. And I wonder what, when we look back, whether we'll see a shift from yesterday. So yesterday was April Fool's Day. Well, it was not a Fool's Day yesterday. Did he complete it yesterday or today? Depends what part of the world you live in. For me, he completed it on the 2nd of April, but I think for America, Washington DC, he completed it during the evening of the 1st of April, whereas for me it finished on the 2nd of April. And Susan Crawford won the Supreme Court vote. for the vote for Supreme Court Justice in Wisconsin. The where Elmo had tried to buy the vote and had failed. Apparently Florida was very disappointing, so they haven't been able to shift themselves out of their MAGA place. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I made the appointment at the bank. I talked about that, I think, in a previous video, that we'd gone to the bank and it wasn't open apart from for appointments. So then I came back and I made an appointment and rung to make an appointment. And I don't know whether I spoke about it because Vicky was here, and yeah, I spoke about it in the short road trip. So I made an appointment at the bank, and then I get a text this morning and tell us that the appointment is in Chauvigny. So I mean, that's not an issue, but the plan was that we would go to San Savan. So, but that won't stop us from using that agents in San Savan. But we'll be going to Chauvigny tomorrow for our appointment. So that's done. I printed off all the statements, because all of the statements I printed off several months ago were now out of date in terms of they must be the last 3 months, and you know, last 3 months of this, last 3 months of that. But I'm pleased that we're on it now, because I've probably not been not up for dealing with it, and I'm on it now. I'm up for dealing with it, so we'll go and do that. Hopefully we'll manage in our French, and maybe there'll be a bit of franglais. Maybe it's a woman we're meeting. I'm not sure if it's the woman I spoke to, and hopefully she has some English, because it's difficult when you put it, like when you go to the doctors, or when you go to the bank, or when you go to an hotel, or you go to you know, into those business settings, or into those settings, the language becomes not so easy, because the context is more specific. Yeah, it's like medical is more specific. So I'm hopeful it'll be fine. I know it will. You know, we've been here long enough. I sort of know the score, and I'm hopeful that this bank that we've chosen is not going to be referring everything to Mark, because that will be silly, because Mark doesn't deal with the finances, I do. So I'm hopeful that they'll realise that. It's a woman we're meeting, so that's promising anyway. So I am cooking. I've cooked up cabbage I needed to use, so I've cooked cabbage, onions and bacon, which I haven't done for a while, as a side dish, being viewed by my neighbour. And I'm cooking boulanger potatoes, but probably not as they're meant to be cooked. I was watching One Day More, the narrowboat vlog of Caroline and Pete, and Pete is a really good cook, and I was watching him cooking for their friends, and he was making what he called boulanger potatoes. Now they're meant to have onions in. I haven't put onions in them, but I just chucked in what I saw him chuck in, sort of, you know, vaguely followed what he's done, and that's in the oven cooking, and I'm gonna do some chicken with it. And he cooked, I'm just cooking chicken breasts. He had a big chicken that he'd cooked, and whenever I see chickens that size, I think, how come you've got such big chickens in the UK? Because we don't, you know, if I buy a big chicken, it's never that plump. It never looks that plump. I don't know whether it's to do with how it's been raised, if we have different breeds here that are raised. In fact, the chicken he had reminded me of chickens I had, and I can't remember the name of them now, but I was going to breed, because when we first started raising chickens, we were going to raise for food, and I had a flock of 12, and they were big, you know, they were big chickens specifically for breeding for food, you know, and by the time they reached 16 weeks old, they were enormous, you know, got cockerels, really enormous. So they would have been plump chickens. I can't remember the name of the breed now. That's really annoying. Anyway, so yeah, our chickens never look that plump. Not that that's a problem. There's only 2 of us, but it makes me wonder. Anyway, I'm going to go in now because those clouds that weren't there are coming over and I'm getting a bit chilly. And I'm going to carry on making the dinner. Thanks for watching and see you next time.